And one of the people who went to cover that war, and from what I've seen, has done some excellent stuff, and I think he provides a perspective as an Antipodean, as an Australian, that is free of a lot of the loaded rhetoric, if you like, from Israeli media, Al Jazeera, the woke media, the Guardian, people like that. So I've looked at this guy's stuff and I've said, I know I'm just getting it straight. I'm getting good reportage. And that is our mate Avi Yemini from Rebel News in Australia. So Avi's been on the front line for a while now, but I know he's taking a break now, I think, in London, and he joins us live. Avi, how are you, my friend?
How you doing, mate? Thanks for having me. And I know a quick correction because I think it's not West Bank, it's Gaza.
Yeah, Gaza, yeah, sorry.
And
yeah.
Everything else you said is true. And when you say 200 hostages, it's been currently up to 239. The reason why as they confirm more, there's about 200 still missing. So they're not sure. They're finding something.
Right, if they're dead, they're finding bodies and charred remains and stuff. Avi, you're in London right now?
That's right. Yeah, I'm here for the ARC conference by Jordan Peterson's. Out in the cold, just to talk to you.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to actually cover that. We've got Bob McCroskey from New Zealand is at the ARC conference. Are you going to go back to Israel, Avi?
I think I'll have to, Sean. It's at the end of the day, I think this is going to be drawn out, but first I'm going to head home and hug my kids and wife, because I tell you, this has probably been the hardest 3 weeks of certainly in recent history of my life. But I'd say one of the hardest 3 weeks in my life. Maybe fighting for my kids was up there with this, but this has been horrible on so many levels.
Yeah. Avi, we have seen a lot of misinformation, a lot of disinformation, a lot of wild claims, which is why it is important to me to talk to someone who's been there. And as I say, because you're from a long way away, I tend to think that you can look at it with slightly brighter eyes. Is there any question in your mind that Israel is making any false claims about what went on October the 7th and the level of depravity of those attacks? Is that being made up? Is that being gilded at all?
You know what, Sean? The sad thing in this one is that because they're trying to protect their own population from the true barbaric nature of it, like what the public gets to see is not even as bad as what it is. They invited the media into, just because they want the media to report it, but they don't want to upset the families of the victims, to the scale of what actually went on. And I visited kibbutz here, and you've got to remember, Frontline, which is one of the hardest hit kibbutzim, where they went through and first slaughtered all the soldiers and kidnapped a bunch, and then went in through to the actual kibbutz, to the community, and went house to house. The rest of it we know. They went butchering, kidnapping, raping. I spent most of my service in that specific kibbutz, and I couldn't recognise it. It was so hard to walk through, because you could just see the devastation, and you could see the absolute atrocities that took place there. But yeah, to answer your question, they're not making things up. In fact, they're under-reporting to protect the families and the victims' families. You've got to remember, Israel is such a small nation. Everyone knows someone. Like, I literally was reporting. I was interviewing an Aussie that I've interviewed before, just about an area in Jerusalem, quite a consensus spot in Jerusalem that he has a lot to do with. And this kid kind of walks up to me going, "Hey, I've got a story." And I was getting used to hearing that I kind of go, "Okay, what's the story?" Just to hear whether it's like something that would be of interest and newsworthy, or whether it was just an Israeli that wanted to vent. And he goes, I was at that party. And the thing that I found traveling the country in this period is that everyone was either directly affected because of how the scale of the attack, how many people were affected. They were either directly there or a family member or a friend was. Like, it's just, it's so crazy. And that, the one thing that's come out of that is it has united a country that was so divided in one thing, that they all agree that Hamas needs to go. It doesn't matter if you're on the left or the right.
Hey, it's amazing, though. You've gone to this ARC conference, which I'm going to talk about later in the week, I hope, in London. In London, England, where 500,000 people have marched in support of the terror committed by Hamas, where a man's been arrested for displaying pictures or for displaying the Israeli flag. It seems, I'm sorry, like London has fallen, mate.
Sean, I'll tell you something that I've said a couple of times at the ARC conference, within private conversations, is, as crazy as this sounds, and I, in fact, interviewed a rabbi here who says to me he's actually considering moving from London out of fear to Israel, to go to the war zone. And I'll tell you now, I felt safer in Sderot, in southern Israel, where they were firing literally one night 50 rockets directly at the point that we were standing. We had to keep running into the bomb shelter. I felt safer there than I do walking the streets of London. And the reason for that is, at least in Israel, I feel October 7, they definitely dropped the ball, and that's all going to come out through the inquiry, exactly what happened. Every Israeli says that inquiry needs to happen, but not right now, because it doesn't matter if they lose the war, then the inquiry doesn't matter whose fault it was. They're gone. But they're saying they dropped the ball then, but at least in Israel now, when I was there, especially after about a week when the army really got a hold of things, you feel like there at least you've got an army to protect you, you've got an Iron Dome, you've got bomb shelters, you've got something you can do. Walking the streets here of London as a Jew, I feel like I've just got this massive target on my back, and I'm hoping no mob that I walk around, and they're everywhere. That's the thing. I don't recognise London. Like, getting out of the airport, and I've been here before, but honestly, the first Englishman I met was my cab driver. And I'm walking around thinking, I hope nobody recognises me, because I'm concerned that all it takes is a whistle and the mob is going to lynch me. And I'm just visiting, so I've got the luxury of leaving. Yeah. But local Jews here are living in fear.